tape this session, but this really is your session in the sense that this is for us to reflect on the last 8 weeks or so. And if there are any concerns that you have with us moving forward, seeing that I will most likely be teaching courses in the future. If there are any issues that you think we should deal with in terms of how the semester went, I mean,
I have a
clearly
question.
it was a unique semester in that we had to deal with the COVID-19 too.
Yeah, I have a question. When I was doing this semester, I thought we were actually going to do an actual grad proposal, or that will come at another time.
That will come at another time because we didn't get that far.
And which course? Which course you think it may occur?
When we do project implementation.
Oh, okay, that will be
an evaluation, yeah.
the third
Because
semester.
and the other thing too, remember I was trying to have it run in parallel. The CSO hasn't been launched yet. You haven't, finalized that aspect of it yet. Because remember I said that first grant is going to be an actual legitimate grant to small grants, and I've already alerted them. I already wrote Khadija. I don't stick. So I already wrote Khadija and said that, look, this is your project. I mean, this is a very unique and test case, and we are thinking of not just talking about organizing a CSO, but actually organizing one. I sent her the draft mission and all that. And, I alerted her to the fact that the very first proposal I'll be looking to write is to her. Because remember, this is their investment, their protection. Because if this thing works out, I mean, Grenada SGP can fashion a similar type arrangement in St. Kitts and St. Vincent. I know one of my colleagues in St. Vincent, I sent a copy of it to the ICA rep in St. Vincent. I know he's really keen. So I don't know if he's going to ask the SGP there to take a look at something similar. So you guys are pioneers, so anything that we could, any assistance that we could get, for maybe for the first couple of months of operation, who knows. But that will be dependent on the quality of the proposal that you guys write. And that's going to be guiding you in the background. Cool?
All right.
Okay.
So as I say, we're trying to make it as hands-on as possible.
Belinda, I think your mic is on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so anybody who is clean, the floor is open. I mean, I spoke for all those weeks. I was the one doing most of the talking.
Well, so for me, you answered my question because I wanted to know if you would be the tutor for the rest of the course coming up. So you answered my question with just knowledge.
Yeah, as I said, thus far, I mean, it's all things being equal, at least for the next semester, I'll be doing it. One of the difficulties, one of the things we were playing around with, one of the reasons why we didn't get started last year is that my travel schedule was, pre-COVID-19 was pretty hectic. So I was even thinking of having someone else do certain aspects of the courses. But I mean, all that, everything sort of fit in nicely with the COVID stuff and with my restricted travel. I was available for the whole semester, which was an original concern that I'd be traveling and it wouldn't make sense, to shortchange you guys by not being physically here. But that worked itself out.
COVID did a whole lot of good things, not just bad.
So that then we only missed one class that Monday when I had the GCF meeting going on at the same time. I really couldn't balance it that evening. So we only missed one class for the whole semester.
So you remember that I brought up the point to you about the advantage with the climate change, and we said we would have talked about, you would have finished with the point, but you did not. I would like if you could finish it now, please, because it's on my mind.
Okay, tell me, remind me. I've forgotten. Kelly, Kelly, that is your camera. That is.
Yeah.
X-ray vision there.
Yes, so no, I was talking about because of the COVID and so many people inside and the factories and things not working. I was reading about that air pollution is down by a lot, and
and you're saying that if this is a benefit in terms of climate change responses.
I remember that.
Yeah, get me.
What happened? What happened?
I don't know, but it looked like recording.
So people may catch COVID again.
Oh no, sorry, I accidentally muted my mic. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I was asking you is to start over the conversation. Let me see if I can get my trend of thought. I don't remember the entire conversation. You said you read an article or something?
If you look at the last air pollution photo what is taken, especially like over China and even in Los Angeles, something, it shows that air pollution is down by a lot. And the guy who was reporting, he was even saying that in times like this, people in China and all about will be wearing masks because the air pollution is so bad. So I was saying that if there is an organization in with climate change, with who you know and everything, like if that is a positive towards climate change, so then if like our organization can come up with, well, you remember I tell you I'll leave it halfway for you to finish it.
Hello?
All right. If I'm hearing you correctly, you were saying that could you attribute the fact that people are inside, factories are closed, less air pollution, that will have an impact on climate change. But what I couldn't get is what you're asking me about a particular organization. If there are organizations out there looking to promote that.
No, you remember, like for example, you remember we were talking in class, like for example about oh Lord. So I will come back to you.
Yeah, because I really want to finish it, but I can't. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Negative and positive from COVID-19. That's what I remember.
That was the trend we were going.
Yeah, right. And you were saying that you didn't think it's COVID-19, but you would use a different term.
I was trying to figure out if people staying inside,
have reduced and stuff like that.
If people staying inside is a positive of COVID-19, let's just say basically. And how do you sell that?
Yes, Bonnie, that's the point. It's selling it to a CSO or to an organization who fights for climate change and everything like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I remember now. I remember saying that the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. Because this staying at home and staying inside is going to reap havoc on the economy.
Right.
And one of the things that comes up in all the climate change meetings, all the climate change discussions, and including the COPs, the Conference of the Parties, at which these decisions are made, including the famous one in Paris in 2015 COP21, which brought the GCF and all these things into existence and made major decisions. just because there's a perceived positive impact out of an event doesn't mean that the whole event is positive. You know, let me see how I could put it here. Out of a dangerous situation, you know, where people can lose their life, you know, you don't want that as a rationale for people to stay indoors. If people were closed down, let us assume that people deciding, okay, we're going to run the factories only 8 hours a day instead of 3 shifts. You follow? That would reduce air pollution considerably, but it still wouldn't have the kind of negative impact on the economy that this total shutdown has had. You see? So it's as if you're going to, you know, I mean, I hate to, well, not say hate, but I dislike quoting Trump, but it's something Trump said that, you know, that the cure can be that catastrophic. You know what I mean? The cure can be worse than the disease. You know, it's as if if you have a headache and, you know, and they prescribe you aspirin, and your aspirin kill you. You know what I mean? Of course, you're no longer suffering from the.
But you know,
You're no longer suffering from
I
the
was
headache, but you're dead, right?
yeah.
So I think that was the main point I wanted to make. But in terms of talking about development, we cannot have a conversation about development at this time and not talk about health issues and climate change issues. So from that point of view, I thought it was interesting that you brought it up in the midst of all this COVID talk. You with me? You know?
I want to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
You are trained professionally as could we say an environmentalist, a science person?
Nope. I'm a scientist, agricultural scientist. That's what my training is.
Right, good.
Mm-hmm.
Is climate change an environmental issue or a political issue?
Climate change is a cross-cutting issue that has health implications, political implications, economic implications, environmental implications, social implications,
Economic.
I call economic already,
Mm-hmm.
cultural implications. And you might ask me, how come cultural implications? Because there are some cultures and some indigenous peoples who use forests in ways that we may not be too keen on when we talk about climate change.
I bring up this question again because I'm amazed that from where I stand, to me, I'm seeing some things that are clear,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but then
You're not seeing the political will?
So-called first world
Mm-hmm.
is often speaking a different language, like if we are crazy.
No, I mean, and one of the things you need to really keep at the back of your mind is that any transition away from business as usual to more climate smart or more climate friendly must be a just transition. What do I mean by that? You cannot expect a country that gets all of its, well, the majority of its energy from coal, right, which is a fossil fuel, to just ups and close down all the coal plants and go solar or go wind or go hydro. You understand? So when they talk about a just transition, they mean that you expect them to change, but the change must be gradual, it must be supported, and you must find a mechanism to take care of the workers who were once working in coal mines. That's what happened in the States. In Kentucky and some of those states where coal mining was a big thing. You can't just come and say, okay, because of climate change, we're shutting down all these coal mines. What are you going to do with all those displaced workers? Right? What programs do you have in place to retrain them to now work in the factories that putting out solar panels and wind turbines and that type of thing?
So Steve,
Coal
can I?
mining is a very specific, coal mining is a specific and dangerous job. You can't talk to people who have had 20 years experience in coal mining and then expect them 2 days later to turn up a job in a factory that is making solar panels or making wind turbines. Do you understand where
Which means that a CSO has to really work with a community or a country or whichever. If it comes up with a model for going forward that will require a major cultural transition.
Yeah. No one CSO could tackle that. That's like world peace. You know, that no. But CSOs could bite off little pieces. Like you could protect a marine. You could do marine protected areas. You could talk about monitoring sea level rise. You could have a watchdog group that keeps a look at your Ministry of Tourism and see what type of permits they're giving for people to do silver sands type things, where people are building on the high water mark, that kind of thing, right? But that's just one aspect of climate change. Sea level rise is just one aspect of climate change. At the same time, that CSO can't be going behind silver sands in terms of how much electricity they're using, what type of air conditioning units they have. I mean, it would be too broad a mandate.
You've answered a very important. Glenda, I know you want to speak. Lastly, you answered a very important question because I don't know if I shared that example already. A couple of years ago, we were sitting in Jamaica in a library, discussing the theology of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
While many of us on the western side of the world were speaking about the environment in terms of reducing pollution and those kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
some persons from Africa, they were in that room. So we were speaking about avoiding cutting down trees and stuff like that. And some of those people had to eat grass and dig soil and all kind of stuff. Had to do some kind of crazy things to survive. And we came across very insensitive to them.
Of course. I mean, I don't know, Funny, have you worked in Haiti?
No, I've never entered Haiti. I mean, I work with people from there.
Okay. Well, one of these start things about that island called Hispaniola is that even when you fly over it, you could know when you're over Haiti and you could know when you're over Santo.
Yes.
You go from green to brown because, the amount of deforestation that's taking place in Haiti. And you're talking about deforestation for firewood and for, very basic thing, right? So you cannot, in all good conscience, talk to somebody from Haiti about deforestation and all these high fancy sounding things when you don't understand what situation they just came out of. Right? I have been to the Sahel. I've been to sub-Saharan Africa, right? Burkina Faso. And when you see the kind of forestry project they have there, I think, I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, right? But I remember one of my favorite references is that all these climate change projects and things that are supposed to plant forests in Africa and so. I went up, I can't remember how old the project was, but it was 10, 15 years old. And I was the tallest tree in that forest at 6'4". So that when you hear people talking about forest projects in Africa and things, that is, a lot of it is pie in the sky because you're not sure that those trees are going to grow up, ever going to get a chance to grow up to be significant pullers of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, which is what you want forests to do, right? And that is why people like Barjagdio and thing, were able to convince Norway and the USA that look, rather than spend money in Africa to try and replant forests or plant forests, pay us for not cutting down ours. Right? Which was essentially what RED is about. RED is the reduction of emissions due to deforestation and forest degradation. Right? It's a massive project, worldwide project. So of course we come across as insensitive because the things that we worry about, I mean, you know, people who are really struggling, where the poverty index is, I mean, a lot lower than the poverty index in Grenada or in any other part of the Caribbean, with the possible exception of Haiti. You come across as insensitive, you come across as vile. To be talking stupidness about forests and things, you know, as if you didn't know that people still cutting down firewood and still had to walk miles to get firewood to cook some food, right? Whereas you are talking about changing from, you know, going from rubbish gas to, you know, some
Sorry to interrupt you, but Lita got disconnected because her computer battery died and she's trying to get back into the room.
oh yeah, sir. Okay, I'm seeing that.
Point well made, though. Thanks very much.
Yeah, but Bunny answered you.
Yes, sir. Thanks very much.
Yeah. So Glenda, you were.
Yes, I wanted to basically make a statement. I was saying green climate change, right? It don't come about overnight. And though some of us might have knowledge as to what it entails or what it's about, in a country where it's kind of new, or I would say you've been trying to implement a new knowledge, you're not getting persons on board. I think education is a main important factor. And I was more or less trying to relate Vonnie's statement of the political implication. I was saying that planning and plan and strategy for implementation and transition process is very important. And it all has to do with how we sell the project. And we also have to be careful what people read into it or how we can get them to buy in. So it has a lot of factor to be considered. And again, if politicians use the wrong approach in getting these messages across, then that is when opposition will come in better, and that's where the politics come to play. I don't know, I could be wrong.
No,
Tell
no,
me
no.
your take on.
It is a political issue. I mean, I I keep, but I hope I keep reminding you guys that politics determines everything, every single thing. The fact that we can, the fact that we are meeting by Zoom and can't go out and meet at TAMCC, although it was triggered by a health crisis, it was a political decision. The fact that you can go to class at all as a female is a political decision. Because if you're living in a different political system, which might be religious based, you could have people telling you that you can't go to class, that you can't be learning, that your role is something completely different to what you're accustomed to. So, with that in mind, everything is going to involve some degree of political decision making, right? In terms of how the government sets up its climate change responses, you know, whether they see it as an opportunity to get some money, whether they genuinely believe that, you know, it is something for a life-saving thing. In the same way that governments decided, okay, look, COVID-19 going to kill people, but climate change is also going to kill people and has been killing people. But because of the way the thing develops, it's insidious. I mean, you could tie it to hurricanes, yes. Every government in the region knows that we're exposed to hurricanes. But not all governments spend the kind of money that you need for resilience. They expect to get it from aid. They're sometimes more important and they are sometimes more interested in putting up fancy buildings, in attracting hoteliers to put up fancy buildings and, you know, and fancy hotels so that they could grow the economy. Whereas at the same time, climate change is going to have a direct impact on that. So I hope I've, you know, begun to explain that, you know, that the politics is always going to be front and center.
So I'm kind of talking a lot, but I have to add something there. Trump is not one of my favorite person either, but the statement he made as related to the cure for the COVID-19, I tend to agree with him because after doing enough analysis and evaluation based on research of the cure that they have presently,
there is no cure. What he was against is the strategy. The strategy is for a total shutdown of all economic activity.
Oh,
And
I
because
thought he meant the cure, the treatment.
No. What he's talking about is the shutdown. That's why he's anxious to free up some certain states, because he has this very perverse view that if you open some of the states that don't have high numbers right now, then you could get some production going. What he's failing to realize or to recognize or to admit is that people will migrate, people will move.
But so I think again that has a lot more implication too. It's a lot to do with him and what he has to gain from all of that as well, you know.
Yeah. As I say,
it's to do with his business and his family business and all of that.
Yeah. So let's not get into the,
Yeah, I yes, I agree.
Who's somebody's mic is on. Vonnie?
Saying something.
I was just saying, okay, your mic is bad. Thanks. I was asking you all to go ahead, but so I was getting some feedback.
Yeah, go ahead now, Vonnie.
Just speaking about mic.
I'm going to mute my mic. Go ahead, Vonnie.
No, I was just coming on to ask two persons to mute the mic because I was getting feedback in what you all were saying. But I am good. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so as I say, without getting into the, we could spend a whole course on Trump and climate change, right? But
can I bridge in for a little bit?
Please, tell.
It's not only whole climate smart issue, because I have some total different opinions on that. But I'm talking about our CSO. Would one of our objectives be to help other organizations write grant proposal? Can that be one of our expert ideas? Rather than just teaching them to be sustainable and how to maintain a proper CSO,
yeah.
One of our
that is that will, even if you didn't write it down, it will come up.
Based on our mission, that would fall underneath our mission based on what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
Kiran fell asleep on us in that class.
It just sort of came to mind because, as much as looking at ways in which we could do income generating activities.
And then, Karen, the other thing too is that you weren't at the class when we did the skills audit, so that you probably missed that, because that was a major thing.
Okay.
Yeah. No. So you're inside. You have the right idea. This is where we're heading.
Perfect.
Okay, guys, we have about 10 minutes left before I email your pizza to you.
No one, because whole time I'm thinking about pizza. No one.
Neither you want aloe pie, right?
The power of suggestion. The power of suggestion. The power of suggestion.
I could do with somebody chicken.
As I say, the power of suggestion.
Line on Saturday. Can I use your name?
I missed that.
Use your name in the line Saturday so I can get my groceries very quick. I can say that I know you.
That won't work. I couldn't get groceries for myself on Monday, far less. It's only because I know somebody who knows somebody that knows somebody why I get a chicken.
There's some serious networking in truth.
Yeah.
But I'm with them now. We had the network to survive, So I stay home and think, come and meet me today, and I ain't got a place.
But I started go and get mine, but it's a little bit again, but I come and meet me right in my house.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Steve, so another question.
Yeah.
I know you as a consultant, you don't right now your level is on top, so you don't take small jobs like under 2050.
Brad, let me stop you right there.
I feel so,
So-
yeah. That is not true, but go ahead, Karen.
So no, I mean for exposure and for experience,
Mhm.
you think whenever there is small opportunities, if you can use some of us to actually put together certain documentation for people who are looking for those kind of services.
Yeah, sure. As I keep telling you, I have an abundance mentality, but because of the kinds of operations I get involved in, I would have to, I have to think hard about because I won't be able to subcontract. So what you'd have to do is like sort of, right shotgun.
I understand.
Yeah. Because I tend to get very specific kind of things to do, But as I say, once I'm part of my network, you're inside. That's not an issue.
Okay.
And I thought you'd have been going from the other end. I thought you'd have been going along the end that you have stuff doing, and then you will just ask me for pro bono. No. Listen to me carefully. If you ask me to just look over something that you're doing, just as a professional courtesy. I thought that's where we're saying.
Well, of course, I gave you one to look at. I didn't even give you a feedback yet.
Don't go down that road at all. Don't go down that road at all. You're supposed to call me back. Just let me expose your business now. You were supposed to call me back. And that offer is still open. You know that.
And right now we have to change it because the architect did a new design, so it's going to cost us way more than what
it is still open. But I know that it wasn't due to lack of interest on my part, because I know that I did engage you and I did say it.
Of course. I was just being sarcastic, man.
No. I don't want to give people like Noja and Glenda the wrong impression.
I didn't hear that one now.
Good.
I was distracted.
Good.
No impression at all.
You see, because I have a healthy respect for Mr. Sandy. I have very, very healthy respect for Mr. Sandy.
Okay. No, she don't miss anything, that, sir. She don't miss anything,
I know.
No, that's
Yeah, Noja.
that's a good thing, that's a plus.
I'll keep quiet. I'll keep quiet, I won't comment. I'll keep quiet.
Well, this is your last chance for the semester, so. Because Noja is the person who exploits us the most, Whereas only one member per household get the training. Noja brings 4 members of our household to get training from me.
Oh my God. Noja?
Nice investment.
Oh my God, that's the best.
Noja, you're led by example.
That's right.
That's the way to go.
Yeah. Don't feel I missed that, And I noticed they didn't send in the attendance sheet, so nobody know that they're getting free training.
Oh, so that's one thing I learned. You don't miss anything.
I told you that.
Yep. Definitely. No, but I had a thoroughly good time.
So the day Nadia missed class, she had to put her as present because she had other persons in previous classes.
Yeah. Make up the full, Everybody else get 48 hours. She get about 54 hours of training. So that's not a surprise at all.
Wow. But such with all this class was exciting and I enjoyed it. I learned quite a lot.
I enjoyed myself too, as you can
Yep.
tell.
It was very, very interesting,
I just
educational,
want to say,
informative,
I mean,
and
I used
interactive.
to be so stiff when I have to write a proposal. Now I've just gotten a little bit more to relax and let the thing flow a lot easier. Because I used to be pretty tense. When I have to write a proposal, it's like I'm going to war.
Nah, man. Anyhow, people, it looks like we're going to be cut off. You guys can have your other meetings on WhatsApp. Use this WhatsApp facility. Organize yourselves, and I'll be in touch. And I suppose the next time you get information will be from Mrs. Alexander. But as a rest assured, that you don't have to worry about whether your scholarship will continue into the next semester. I can tell you that is covered. Okay?
Thank you
So
so
this
much.
is a true testimony that we have stuck it out.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For
Awesome.
those who weren't around when
I
I was talking
appreciate that.
about the grades, you could share with them that that.
Yeah, because we missed Sharama and she has been very, attentive in class and
Yeah.
participating.
The other people
And I
that
was trying to reach her, but I couldn't get a hold of her either to see what's happening with her.
some people were working. People were in contact with me, and
Kieran, were you able to contact Sharama? Seeing that she's
No,
closer to you?
no, but I'll call her. She's in another group chat with me. I would give her
Okay.
a shot. I would give her a shot.
Yeah, just check up and see how she's going. Persons that we're not hearing, I think it'd be nice to check up on each other.
Yeah. There's only like 45 seconds.
yeah. Okay. So guys, as I said,
Bye.
you have my contact, So
Yeah.
All right, no problem. Thanks very much.
And see you guys next semester.
God bless you.
Bye.
Actually.
Okay, bye. Looking forward to
All the
seeing you
best,
guys
everybody.
next semester.
You
All
too.
right.
Bye, everybody.
It have to. Okay.